Siamo veramente onorati e felici quest'anno di rendere omaggio a un grande del cinema e di cominciare con lui un viaggio attraverso i grandi del cinema che hanno inventato, pensato, reinventato a loro modo il genere noir. Vorrei chiamare qui il regista di Gumshoe, il regista di The Grifters, il regista europeo dell'anno, Stephen Frears.
I mean, I don't know. People being nasty to each other is always interesting. And of course they're normally found in film noir, but I seem to have found them in other areas. You know, life is difficult. So I don't know if you call that noir or just about how hard life is. Stanley Kubrick made Dr. Strangelove, and it turned out that was what everybody wanted, was really just a laugh. But of course the fear of the bomb was very, very genuine, and I can see why people were trying to make films about the threat of nuclear disaster. And it seemed a perfectly intelligent response to, wasn't it a man called Herman Kahn, you know, was going on about mutual destruction and idiotic things like that. And then Kubrick made a joke of it, and that was brilliant. If I could, you know, it's very, very difficult. You know, if you said make a film about terrorism, my heart would slightly sink. You know, all I can think of, you know, Arabs, bomb, you know, suicide bombers. It's not very interesting. What is interesting is when people find imaginative solutions to these dilemmas. You know, My Beautiful Laundrette was good because it was such an imaginative, original way of dealing with racism. No one had ever thought to make it comic in that way. And that's why it was so unexpected. And unexpected about Thatcherism, and unexpected about all sorts of things. Unexpected about homosexuality. It came from, you know, someone's imagination. And a much more interesting imagination than a conventional treatment of, you know, when I started to read the script of The Laundrette, you just thought, oh my goodness, this is about liberal, you know, this is going to be a liberal film. And then, of course, I started to laugh. And it was the laughter that was so satisfying and so fresh. So, you know, it's difficult. Fail-safe, you know, George Clooney is a liberal politician. He's a liberal guy, and good for him. So really, I associate, you know, it was his project, really, and he has absolutely liberal principles. I think I'm probably more subversive. In the 70s, after Gumshoe, when I went to work in television, the 70s were a very bad time for the English cinema. The Americans had gone and taken all the money away. And the best films, in my opinion, were being made at the BBC. You know, and Ken Loach was working there, and Mike Leigh, and, you know, all of us. So it was a very, very good time for television. So I grew up, you know, I was delighted to be working on with these very, very interesting people in television. And I mean, when I was asked to make My Beautiful Laundrette, I said we should make this for television. This is what I'm used to doing. It's partly to do with, you know, I grew up under the welfare state, and the BBC was really one of the great. It was one of the great children of the welfare state, even though it was invented before. And when I started making films there, you know, they were really giving an account of what Britain was like, that the cinema had never done. So it was very, very interesting being there. And, you know, Ken Russell came out of the BBC, but it was just full of very, very interesting people doing very, very interesting work. And in as much as there was a welfare state, it was sort of protected. So you didn't have to make money at the box office. You didn't have to do all the things you now have to do under capitalism. So various times in my career, I've said I will make this film for television because it's sort of more protected. You know, and I find capitalism very, very frightening. And, you know, you try to sort of protect the films because you know what pressures are going to be on them.